Okay, for the last assignment of this unit, we are going to set up our portfolio index page. And so what we're going to do is take this is your, this should look a little bit like your My Portfolio page assignment so far, with your links to your invitation and your Webmaster roles. And we're going to take this and we're going to turn it into this, with buttons that go to each of our pages, a picture of ourselves, and our My Portfolio title that you should have done in the previous assignment. So what you're going to do is save a photo of yourself in your main images folder. So in your folders, here's my portfolio folder. And inside my portfolio, this is your main images folder. So you need to save an image of yourself in your main images folder inside your portfolio folder. Resize the photo if necessary, so it's no larger than 400 pixels wide. And use a table to set up the page as shown below, but make the border equals 0. So they kind of laid out what they want your table to look like. So this page right here is laid out with a table. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows and 1, 2 columns on this table. I do encourage you to try and create this table on your own, but if you do get stuck, there's a link here that kind of helps you out with the code to help you produce the table for your portfolio page. So what you're going to want to do is open up your portfolio, the starting of your portfolio page, which should be, you should have that named index inside your portfolio folder. So this is our portfolio page that we've created with our hyperlinks, and now we're going to want to insert this table code. So you will want to put in this code. Here's my code for my index website. So under body, I want my table to be centered. So I'm going to add a center tag here, and and that's going to then center the table that follows it. So we're going to start punching in. Let me make this window a little smaller. We're going to start punching in the code for the table. And one thing I'm going to change right away, because I know what this is going to look like. I don't want my table to be 100% the width of my window. So when you type in 100%, it's going to make that table as wide as the window is that you're viewing it in. And so what I did with this table here, this is 700 pixels wide. So I'm going to go ahead, and you can kind of mess with that however you want, but I'm going to make my table width 700 pixels. And we want this to have a border of 0. And we want the table to be align center. Okay, so that kind of starts our table off, and then we start with the first row of our table is where we want to have this My Portfolio. So you can probably tell right away this My Portfolio is centered on the entire table. So we want this first row is going to span 2 columns. So you'll probably remember that from the previous assignment where we said our call span code equals, we want to span 2 columns. And let's go back to our code. All right, so here in your code, they show you want the first row to span 2 columns, so to fill the question mark with 2, and then we want it to be centered, and we want it to include our My Portfolio text. So I should have helped you kind of get started up to this point. Let's finish this line of code here. Oops, excuse me, here. We're going to close that, tell it to align center within this cell, and this is going to be our My Portfolio text. Sorry, we need to close this. Oh my gosh, my typing is horrible today, so please don't type what you see me typing. Please type what we see in the text there. So this is the first line of code that we need for our table. The first row, the first cell of our table is going to span 2 columns, and it's going to include this My Portfolio text. So we can delete the next line where we had My Portfolio as our website, as like the title on our web page. So we can delete that because we now moved it to the first cell of our table that we just created. So go ahead and finish out typing up the code that you see for this table. So you should have already completed this first cell where we're spanning 2 columns. The next row, it says, remember your 2 column widths should be an equal 100%. You may have to try different widths to find what works for your buttons. So for this cell width, how wide do you want it? Do you want this maybe 25% of the entire width of the table? And same with this, the next column. What percentage do you want the width of your column? So I think I set mine up, I think I made this column with the buttons 20% of the width of my table, and then I made where I put my image, this is 80% the width of my table. So you can kind of mess with those and adjust those as you need, but go ahead and finish typing up the code for this table, and when I get back to you, we'll move on to the next step. By the way, you don't need to type this blue stuff. Some of this blue stuff are little notes, so you don't need to type what goes there. And then the blue stuff down here is where we're actually going to put some buttons that we're going to create. So don't worry about typing all the blue. Okay, so I just finished typing up this code, and I'm going to close a couple of these My Portfolio windows. So yours should look like mine at this point. We set the column span to 2. For that first column, I made the first column 20% the width of the table. The next column's 80% the width of the table. I did a row span of 5 here, which you should have filled in the same with the code there. And then I did put little some text in where I'm going to be inserting some images, some buttons. But let's go ahead and check this out and see how we're looking. So file, save that, and then go and open the HTML. So good, I have my table laid out pretty good. I have my portfolio centered in the middle. Then this is where I'm going to put my Webmaster button, colors, copyright, famous, and yeah, should be good to go with that. Okay, the next step is to make a button for each item in the left column and save them to your main images folder. So back in part B, we used these links to create buttons and logos. So you're going to go through and choose some of this text or something that looks more like a button. You can use, this kind of looks like a plain button. These are a little fancier buttons. So you can create your buttons now in order to, then we're going to insert those buttons as images into our portfolio page so that we have like something to click on in order to access these other web pages. So go ahead and create those buttons, and then you're going to save them inside your images folder, inside your web, or inside your portfolio folder. So here's my portfolio folder, here's my images folder, and then I already have all my buttons created. So next we'll show you how to insert those buttons. So you go ahead right now and create some buttons. You're going to need a invitation button, copyright button, colors, and a famous button. And if you're confused about making buttons or you can't remember this, how to use this web page, go back to the previous assignment where you created text titles for your web pages and review that assignment in order to help you out with creating these buttons. Okay, so now that you have those buttons created, we're going to insert those button images into our code. And so the very first image I want to insert is my invitation button. So again, you should have an invitation button, Webmaster button, colors, copyright, and famous buttons all created. And my invitation button I want to put right here in the first column, second row of my table. So I'm going to add in the code that I know inserts an image with image source equals, and inside my images folder, let me pull up my images folder. Okay, and I want to insert this invitation button. So I'm going to type images / invitation _ button because I have to type it just the way it looks. And this is a king image. So I'm going to type .png, quotation marks, close tag, and there's the source code for our first button. So let's save that and preview what that looks like. And there we go. There's my invitation button. So do the same thing and add in the rest of your buttons, Webmaster, colors, copyright, and I'm going to just simply highlight this code, copy it, and replace, this is where I wanted my Webmaster button to be, so I'm going to paste that same source code, and now I'm just going to replace the name of that image with what I saved, my Webmaster button. Let's see if that worked. And boom, both my buttons are showing up well. Okay, so you go ahead and finish inserting the code for the rest of our buttons. Okay, so I have the code in for the rest of my buttons. Let's see how they're looking. And there we are. There's all my buttons showing up. So we're good to go there. I'm going to close all these portfolio windows. All right, next step. We made a button for each item, and we already added our buttons. So now we need to add the title to our portfolio page. So again, with that same website, you're going to make a title for your portfolio using the same colors and font as you used for the buttons and save it to your main image folder. So it doesn't have to be the same. I think that's a little redundant. So, and I don't want my portfolio to look like a button. So you can use this website to kind of create. It should try to stay consistent with the style, but it should look good on your web page. So you can create a different button or logo to image to use in place of this My Portfolio up at the top. So create an image and then save that to your images folder and insert it just like we did with our other buttons, only you're going to insert it right here where it says My Portfolio. You're going to add your code to insert your My Portfolio image there. Okay, I've got my image source code inserted there. Let's go ahead and save it. Check it out. And there we have it. There's our title and our button. So now, next thing we are going to want to do, I'm sure, is to insert our image. So you should have a image saved to your images folder of yourself, and 400 pixels wide about. Okay, so add your buttons, add your title, and add the image to the table. So let's go to our table now, and let's find where we need to put our image. All right, so in this cell where we said we're going to span 5 rows, that's where we want to insert our image. So go ahead and put in the image code to insert the picture of yourself. Okay, I went ahead and added in my code. So let's file save, check that out. Coming through quite nicely. Okay, let's go back. And our next step then is to make our links for the first 3 buttons. We haven't made the last 2 pages yet, so we can't link them. So we have our invitation page, webmaster page, and colors page all completed. So we can go ahead and link those buttons to those different pages. So let's get our code back out. So I need to find the code for my invitation button. Here it is. And I need to place the code for the link in front of my image source code. So if you'll remember, the code for hyperlinks is A space href, that means anchor hyperlink reference, equals, and then we put our folder path. So in my unit 2 folder, / inside that folder I need to go into my invitation folder, / and grab my index unit2.html, quotations, and close tag. And so that started the anchor of my hyperlink. So now I need to go to the end of that image and close the anchor of my hyperlink with the close tag A. So let's go ahead, File, save that, and see what that looks like. Open up my portfolio page. Here's my link. Oh, you see it has my cursor, changes to a hand or a finger that allows me then to click on that button and takes me to my invitation page. And I have my home button to go back to my portfolio page. Pretty slick. So remember though, when we're linking an image, the hyperlink code has to go in front of the image source code. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're putting in your hyperlink code there. So now we've linked our invitation page, so go ahead and do the next two pages. So we can link our Webmaster page. Let's find out what that file path is again, because I certainly forgot. Our Webmaster page is inside Unit 2, and it's just called CSS assignment. So my code, I can go Unit 2. Let's see, this is the right one that I want to change, right? Unit 2, and it's just CSS assignment.html. And then make sure, I believe this is an area that's case sensitive. So if you have capital CSS assignment, make sure you capitalize CSS in your code. I believe that's significant when you're coding. And we need to do our close tag anchor there. And then finally our colors page. So I'm going to copy this hyperlink code one more time, paste it for my colors page. So inside my Unit 2 folder, inside my colors folder. Okay, so I'm inside my Unit 2, inside colors, I'm going to grab, I believe I changed yours might just be index. I think I have mine saved as index 2. So I'm going to tell it to grab index2.html. And once again, close anchored tag. So let's save that, check it out. Back to portfolio index. Invitation page works. Webmaster page works. Colors page works. Awesome. So one thing I didn't do on the previous hyperlinks assignment is add a home button to my colors page. So you're going to want to make sure that you add a home button to your colors page. I would just do that now because they're going to have to do it later on if you don't do it now. So let's go back now and see. Make links for your first 3 buttons. Save your page as index.html inside your main folder. So not inside the Unit 2 folder, but inside this should all be inside your portfolio folder. So you're going to want to zip your entire portfolio folder and submit that to the Dropbox. Okay, and then just looking at the rubric for this assignment, your file structure. Make sure all files are saved in the correct location with the proper file names. Make sure your table's set up properly with the column and row spans, proper border, proper size. Buttons, all buttons have the same style. Font and colors used are readable. Links, all buttons are linked to the web pages. Title, style, and colors match buttons and is easy to read. Photo of student is resized to fit the cell. And you've zipped your portfolio file folder and have submitted it to the Dropbox. And again, this was the portfolio setup assignment.